How are you all doing? We're starting the broadcast. Hey, so it's amazing what's happening in the Cofre del Pelote. It's getting covered in white there because it's above 3,800 meters. According to what this video from Conagua reports, there's a pretty significant snowfall happening. And well, towards the mountains, towards Sierra Negra, towards Pico de Orizaba, this kind of weather has been reported. Also, another impressive image is this building. There's a big fire at the Marista School of Santa Maria in Brazil. That's also something that stands out today. Another really striking image as well. Let's check what's happening in Ukraine's capital, right? Watch out for the attacks in Ukraine. They're launching some really heavy attacks. And right at this moment, so let's talk about what's happening. Especially because it seems like another country is getting involved. If that's the case, then the war could escalate to a tremendous level. Now, another image they show is this one. These satellite images are proof that there is movement or action being taken against the capital. Massive at this moment. So let's talk about what's happening and about the hypersonic missiles that would be aimed at the capital of Ukraine. Also, this image is not just an image, as it shows precisely these launches against the capital, massive missile launches. Well, this is accelerating tremendously at this moment. And on the other hand, do you know why? We're going to talk about the reason in a moment. Why? Why is Russia so worried about accelerating this attack toward the capital as much as possible? We're going to talk about that matter in a moment. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, Maduro's comments on various topics also don't stop. Check out what Nicolas Maduro says about how famous he is, according to his version.
You're always running a campaign about Maduro, so you've made me famous. You show a picture of Maduro anywhere in the world and people say, Maduro, Maduro, very good, very good. With the love of people worldwide, we have the support and understanding of the United States, also by millions, by millions. You know it's true, you have measurements on us too. You know that those people, after so many false attacks.
Just imagine the delusion of this person who thinks he's loved all over the world. Well, that's how it is. That's what it's like living in Maduro's imagination. And in the meantime, check out this image according to the reports. Well, do you remember that this morning I shared some images of these dentistas in Furaro in Hokkaido, Japan? Well, here are more images that have surprised people. What surprises me the most isn't the dentisca, but the people who dare to go snowboarding or skiing in that kind of weather. The truth is, well, there's a lot of love for that sport, definitely. It's a tremendous dentisca, and they're going up the mountain, huh? Mainly to go snowboarding, and look, they bring snowboards, not skis. Well, over there in Hokkaido, Japan, the weather is intense, but the fun doesn't end with snowboarding either. Well, this image, well, these are some amazing images where you can see this kind of, let's say, well, weapons. Now it's become very common to constantly show off weapons. And this time, the images that stand out show not only the naval force, but also the United States ship. Arleigh Burke becomes one of the key ships for the United States. One of the flagship destroyers that has the capability to launch Tomahawk missiles, like the ones that were recently launched toward Nigeria against the terrorist group Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. These missiles have surgical precision from the sea, allowing them, as they say, to strike at the coasts or at various targets within the territory, even far from the shores, even without crossing into another country. So, does one destroyer get close then? If it knows exactly where it has to operate or where it has to attack, it can do it without even being visible from the shores where it's going to attack. The United States ship Arleigh Burke is a class of destroyers, they say, the most powerful currently in service with the United States Navy. And well, there they give the full explanation about these destroyers. Equipped with the Mark 41 vertical launch system, which enables missiles to launch directly from the sea without warning and from a safe distance. They say this would represent one of the most modern ways to create conflict, to wage war in that area, in the naval field. Also, listen to the following audio.
It is more powerful now in assets than the United States Navy.
The president of Ukraine is in this message talking about the attacks they are experiencing right now in the capital. And, well, that's already a pretty serious accusation against another country, a third country. He points out that it has become part of Russia's tactics to invite different countries, but now another country is being added. And this would open up the conflict to an increasing possibility of it becoming a global conflict. If this escalates, we'll discuss what it's about and which countries are involved, since there are several. Although there is one in particular that seems to be trying to operate in a much more dramatic way. They've also been asking us about how things are going about the blackouts, and we are updating the data. And well, it shows how things have improved and the power has come back. In much of California, 40,000 customers remain without power in these areas. We're seeing it there, in these areas that are marked in blue within California. These are the ones who don't have electricity right now, or some of those areas don't have electricity. There are about 40,000 people without electricity there and throughout the United States. Right now, there are 84,708 homes and businesses without electricity. This is mostly due to very intense weather conditions that have caused a tremendous storm throughout this area of the United States. We'll be seeing how the satellite image shows it. But let me tell you, this area in particular is showing the most activity, and this area here is toward the northeast United States, okay? Where is the heaviest snow expected? Where are the heaviest rains expected in the United States, Mexico, Central America, and elsewhere? Obviously, we'll be talking about it today. By the way, more images were reported and we are sharing them. This morning, there have been floods in Sumatra and in different parts of southern Asia. Well, it's challenging weather to say the least. I mean, it's been really tough what's been happening over there, and we'll be talking about it as well. And don't forget about what's happening with the gold situation, right? We'll talk about that a bit later too. Is gold acting up again? Look at this. Another all-time high for silver, another all-time high for gold. It's impressive. I mean, those who bought a good amount of silver a year ago, for example, silver, they've already made a move. They've already about doubled their profit, if not more. And if they bought it years earlier, their profit would be even higher. I mean, honestly, what gold has done, what silver has done is impressive. So let's go. Let's get to the information. Let's see what's happening in the world. Share this if you can help us with that. If you get it on Facebook, if you get it on Twitter, wherever you want, just retweet it, share it. And I obviously am very grateful to all of you. So let's go. What's happening in the world? Right now, it's being reported that Iran has seized an oil tanker. This would already be like the third one in the last few days. And well, obviously this shows that Iran also has its own agenda, its own interests. On one hand, there has been a lot of criticism about what is happening between the United States and Venezuela. Iran has been doing exactly the same thing for about 2 months now, and well, in some cases the ships are returned, in some cases they're not. The point is that Iran is seizing oil for smuggling, or so they say. Iranian authorities detained a foreign ship with 4 million liters of illegal fuel, according to them, from the Persian Gulf, and the crew was foreign. All of them were arrested. Iran is once again raising tensions in the waters of the Persian Gulf this Friday, December 26, 2025. With that, the year ends with this situation.
According to Iranian state media, they confirmed that the foreign oil was intercepted near Kesha Island. It is accused of transporting 4 million liters of smuggled fuel, a type of operation that is very well known, similar to what happens in other countries.
Exactly. Well, yes, these movements have been happening. The oil tanker was captured on Wednesday, but they reported it today. It was made public today, the 26th. The vessel's name and nationality were not disclosed. In fact, maybe it didn't even happen because they don't want to give any kind of information. So, well, it's kind of complicated to know, but anyway, if they're bragging about it, I want to assume that those who are supposedly doing it aren't actually there. No, I haven't seen any country file a complaint in this case, right? There have already been several cases of these ships that they accuse of, well, basically of theft, right? But theft from whom? I mean, theft of what? I mean, because if it comes from Kuwait or if it comes from some other country, well, that country also has the right to make it sail, right? I mean, I guess I don't know where they get that point from, but they stopped them coming from the Persian Gulf, so, well, they come from that place. It could be Kuwait, it could be Saudi Arabia, it could be Bahrain, it could be Qatar, and they end up stopping us here in this area? Yes. According to some images that are already circulating in Iranian media, they show part of this incident. Not these images. We'll see later if they're confirmed. Meanwhile, the Saudi regime is facing a huge problem with the tremendous devaluation of its currency. Doesn't that cause them economic problems like inflation and currency devaluation? Well, pretty much all year, basically since Trump came in, things have really gone downhill for them. In that sense, the news about this issue, well, comes along with several problems, including blackouts and water shortages in some regions. All of this, which, well, we've already discussed before, let's move on to other topics, other important matters as well. Meanwhile, it is reported that Saudi Arabia has been demanding the withdrawal of the separatists after the bombings that have occurred there in Yemen. This is also an important topic. We've seen how the United Arab Emirates, Yemen, Israel, the United States, Iran, and so on are involved. Many countries are interested in having some control over Yemen. And this time, well, Saudi Arabia. Yesterday we talked about the United Arab Emirates. The other day we also talked about Saudi Arabia. Once again, Saudi Arabia is making its comments. Have they been living in a civil war for more than 12 years now? And now, well, with many countries trying to, as they say, pull things to their side, wanting to exert their influence, at the end of the day, they're neighbors. And the country that shares the longest border with Yemen is Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. Well, Riyadh, which is the capital of Saudi Arabia, has even launched airstrikes as a warning to the Southern Transitional Council in Yemen. This is further straining relations between Saudi Arabia and the Emirates, because at the end of the day, these are two countries that are waging this kind of proxy war inside Yemen, and it could spark yet another conflict in the Middle East. Now what they did was an attack in southern Yemen. Well, it was a very explosive move, right? They bombed their own allies in the south of the country. The target was this council I just mentioned, the Southern Transitional Council, which is a separatist group backed by the United Arab Emirates and has been advancing in strategic provinces. Without Saudi Arabia's approval,
the area where they attacked is this one, this place marked with red dots in the southern part. This area is called Adramut, where the separatists had taken control after expelling the forces loyal to Saudi Arabia. So, since Saudi Arabia's loyal forces were removed, they attacked their positions. They claimed the attack would represent a symbolic and operational break within the Arab coalition that is fighting. The Houthis, the Shiite militia, which by the way has been supported by Iran since 2015. Yes, since 2015 they've been supporting this militia, and well, that militia claims, well, that they already have the capability to even launch ballistic missiles, even hypersonic missiles, according to them.
Exactly. Well, up until now, the Saudis and the Emiratis had literally been on the same side, but tensions have escalated lately. And while the Emiratis support the southern Yemeni separatists, Saudi Arabia seeks to maintain the unity of the country. Let's say the country, the government, the one that officially exists. And well, the CTS didn't stay silent. They confirmed losing 2 people and having 2 injured in their ranks after these regional ambushes. They also released images of the attacks, directly blaming the Saudi Air Force.
Well, that's the thing. Thank you very much, by the way, for your comments. Greetings to Christy Kranz, Panterita, and Roble. Who else is out there? Emma Andrade, right? To everyone joining the live stream, leave your comments and we'll read them soon. Meanwhile, let's handle some important matters. This person, well, this Mr. Kash Patel has caused so much controversy. The director of the FBI, well, he's making more and more enemies, honestly, within the United States. At this moment, he claims that the FBI would be closing the building. Hoover seemed to come in with the idea of dismantling and taking away the credibility that the FBI had. It looks like that's the operation being done. And Kash Patel, well, now he's going after the building, which is classic, which is extremely important for that internal intelligence agency, right? And, well, it shows an unusual character. Totally. Let's say no, according to what's being reported. And they promise, he says they promise, Deep State Museum. Basically, that's Trump's narrative. I mean, what Trump wanted was to dismantle intelligence, both the CIA and the FBI, because he says there's a deep state that controls everything. And so, we're gonna take that power away from them and all that, but in the meantime, it's just pieces of apples. When there's a power vacuum, I mean, yes, of course there's power. All intelligence agencies have power, yes, but when you take that power away from a country's intelligence agency, then who's going to step in? Well, the agencies from other countries, the intelligence services from other countries, they're going to start saying, oh, well, now there's more opportunity to operate here. According to Kash Patel, the current director of the FBI and very close to Trump, this Friday he announced the permanent closure of the historic J. Edgar Hoover Building, the FBI headquarters in Washington, District of Columbia since 1975, which had previously just been a media promise. When he was still, well, a personality, a podcaster, right now, well, the museum, and that's what they criticize him a lot for. People inside the FBI do have quite a few enemies there, because he was never an operator. I mean, he was never an FBI agent, and that's something they also criticize him for. They say, no, he has no idea what it means to be an agent, and he's basically dismantling the FBI, right? And on top of that, he wants to expose this deep state, let's say, which basically means taking even more relevance away from that country's intelligence, right? Instead, he says, the FBI is going to move most of its staff to the already existing Ronald Reagan building in Washington, where, he says, the transition is starting now, with infrastructure and security already being upgraded. Patel says that this measure will not only drastically reduce costs, but will also allow the FBI to have a greater territorial presence by redistributing staff to different parts of the country. In other cases, it means diversifying and dismantling part of that agency, right?
And on the one hand, do you see him using the private jet to go with his girlfriend, spending on luxuries that he himself? In interviews, he has said yes, that it's fine, that he has the right to use them because, well, it's his private time, and he also has the right to go with his girlfriend.
And spend money.
And spend that money?
Money and resources, well, from the agency. Don't the harshest critics say that, well, it's still being called out for using this fleet of armored BMWs, yes, to replace the FBI's Suburban? I mean, they went a step above. Now they have BMWs, which are all armored, and the agency's plane, which is just used for personal trips to go see his partner. Yes, to sing, to really sing, not just a singer who performs at soccer games and things like that. Well, that's also part of what happens.
Well, yes, Trump already said he was going to dismantle the FBI, and now we're seeing the first steps to start destroying the credibility of these agencies.
Of those agencies, exactly. Well, there you could hear some of the attacks that are happening right now in Ukraine. What is happening right now in the capital, over there in Kyiv? Well, what was being warned in this audio we heard a moment ago from Zelensky is that, well, apparently Belarus is now participating in the war in a more direct way. According to the report, President Zelensky states that Russia is evading defenses because they are using Belarusian territory. And they point out that, well, Ukraine is preparing a response to this tactic. And not only that, but these satellite images are already starting to appear. What are we seeing there? What is known about this matter?
We're witnessing a movement. We have to remember that Moscow moved what are the Oreshnik to Belarus. Putin had mentioned it, and Zelensky had also warned that they already knew where they were. And well, they have started to move these new missiles, which are hypersonic, to an old base they have in Belarus. This project of deploying the Oreshnik near the Krychev area is increasing Russia's offensive capability over Europe.
This is possibly the image because obviously it's still under investigation. It could possibly be this movement, which is indeed visible, a military movement according to experts. They now want to know if they are the Oreshnik or another weapon. But look, they are using Belarusian territory to operate inside Ukraine. Is that getting more deeply involved in the war? Meanwhile, we see that NATO is getting more and more involved and North Korea is also participating more and more. Come on. Different countries around the world are getting involved in a slightly more direct way, and more direct, and even more direct. And the challenge is also getting bigger and bigger, right? I mean, you can see how it's happening already. Russia's operations are no longer just focused on Ukraine, they're already moving beyond that. They're entering Poland and Romania. In other words, these are now larger operations, which make the United Kingdom and others nervous.
Yes, also, as they approach, the Oreshnik can't go further.
The Oreshnik, yes. Now, experts say there's a 90% chance that the site is intended for mobile launchers of this system. Based on current images, it appears so, but we can't confirm with absolute certainty yet. This satellite evidence also shows another situation, which is infrastructure. Protected railway areas with camouflaged launch platforms are being observed. So, does that mean Belarus is preparing for war? I mean, for war right now, not for a future war, but for war now? So, this topic is also important.
Exactly. And well, the Oreshnik are also designed to evade NATO's missile defenses, which makes traditional deterrence much more complicated. For its part, Belarus, which has become a forward position for Russian strategic weaponry, has deepened this military alignment with Moscow. This could have been avoided, as I believe Lukashenko wants to avoid it. In the first 2 or 3 years of the war, he couldn't and didn't participate actively. It seems that in 2026 it's going to be different.
Well, it could be. Yes, it could be that it's different. We might be seeing that Belarus is already a key player, maybe even more so. It's personally involved, with attacks launched from there, fully involved now. If this is the case, then the sanctions and actions against Belarus are going to be even tougher. We have to remember that elections are coming next year, the elections for Belarus. In this one, where supposedly he will no longer continue as the leader, according to what he claims, no. And that, well, could also be part of this movement. He's repositioning himself with Putin for support, since without Putin's backing, he can't stay in government. So it's his son in your case.
His son is the one who's supposed to take his place.
Exactly, his son would be the next in power. And in the meantime, let's move on to other important matters. There's a movement almost like Israel, very interesting, very striking in international and geopolitical matters, because there's a place called Somaliland, right, which many countries don't recognize as a country. For example, Trump says the United States will study the case, but not necessarily. I mean, they still don't recognize Somaliland. Yes, it's this place. Let's put it on the screen.
They don't mark it with dots.
Exactly. They use dots since it's not yet recognized as a place in Somalia. Yes, here is Somalia. All of this. No. Here it is. Here it turns around here. It's the famous Horn of Africa, and this part is controlled by a place called Somaliland, but not many countries recognize it. Today there was a very curious development because Israel officially recognizes Somaliland. Many African countries reacted, well, upset.
It's the first country to recognize it.
I think so, he says. A United Nations member country has officially recognized Somaliland's independence for the first time, causing geopolitical tensions in Africa and the Middle East. Israel became the first United Nations member state to recognize Somaliland as a sovereign country, a move that reshapes the diplomatic map of the Horn of Africa. The declaration was made by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who stated that the recognition was official and that he communicated directly with the president of Somaliland, Abdirahman Mohamed Abdullahi, also known as Iro. That's how this person is known. And well, the African countries. Many of them didn't like it. At least they didn't like it, since that's why they haven't recognized it anywhere in the world until now, because the United States is the first to recognize it.
Well, the Israeli Foreign Minister, Gideon Saab, revealed that the recognition is the result of a year they have had of discreet dialogues with high-level contacts between Tel Aviv and Hargeisa, which would be the capital of Somaliland. And in Somaliland, well, the decision has been received with great joy and as a historic achievement toward its international legitimacy. They also expressed their desire to join the famous Abraham Accords. But while Somalia and its allies like Egypt, Turkey, and Djibouti have obviously condemned this decision by Israel, it seems that is the main reason for making this decision.
Of course, it's also a political issue, obviously, but in the end, Somaliland plays its cards, Israel plays its own, and all the countries are playing theirs too. It has come out that Israel may have considered Somaliland as a possible destination to relocate part of its Palestinian population from Gaza. And that's also partly true, right? Taking Palestinians over there, or at least some of them, according to what's being speculated, although for now we'll have to wait for the topic to be discussed. Meanwhile, Netanyahu will travel to the United States next week to meet with Trump, where they will discuss the second phase of the ceasefire plan in Gaza, including the disarmament of Hamas and the possible withdrawal of Israel, a topic that is also important. In response, Trump says no on Somaliland and will study the issue, nothing more.
If not, they still won't make it official because many people expected that Israel was going to accept it. Also, I mean from the United States exactly, but it didn't happen?
No, it's not happening yet. The United States will analyze the matter as they would do the same. Come on, it could upset allies. Yes, it could upset allied countries, and they don't want to make a move in that direction either. The United States will do what's best for them, and other countries will do the same. Meanwhile, let's discuss other topics. Well, a situation is being reported. It's kind of curious, isn't it? I don't know if you're seeing it right now, but look, this is the image we're seeing about Texas and what could be a seismic swarm. These earthquakes you're seeing have only happened during the last 24 hours. Yes, well, actually, these are earthquakes that, well, practically all of them are from today. 26, let me check. Yes, there are a few. For example, this one's from the 25th. This one right here is from the 25th. Here are two more from the 25th, this one and this one, along with the others. They are small earthquakes, but the number of tremors and earthquakes is striking, and above all, many of these earthquakes are shallow. We're talking, for example, this is the earthquake you're seeing there. It's an earthquake that occurred at a depth of 5 kilometers, and this other one at a depth of 4 kilometers. So, this situation really stands out. They're discussing 24 earthquakes in the past day, nearly all of which were quakes. We're talking about magnitudes ranging from 1 to 3 more or less, right? Or like 1, 2 point something, right? But what stands out is that if we look at the activity in the last 7 days, we can see there's a very noticeable activity in that area. If we count, in the last 24 hours, there have been 24 earthquakes, but in the last week, there have been approximately, let's count here, 176 earthquakes. In the area, the largest one is this one, which is 356 kilometers deep. But there is a pattern like that. There's something going on there. Is it related to fracking, or is it due to some other fault? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see if the United States Geological Survey in the United States releases a report. It catches my attention that no one is talking about the subject, that it's not being discussed. It's not an area where there's usually movement, but if you notice, there have already been 176 earthquakes in a week. This is the direct page from the United States Geological Survey. It's the most official information there is from the United States. That's the topic, so that's the issue, right? Friends living in Western Texas, it's not a densely populated area. Because it's totally on the opposite side from Austin, from Houston, from San Antonio. It's on the west side, right? It's not a very populated area, is it? But yeah, if we have any viewers from over there, let us know if you've been feeling these earthquakes. It would be important to know your opinions and what you have to say. Look, there's a very interesting case. For example, this earthquake right here, which is reported at 0 kilometers depth, you might wonder, how is that possible? How can it be 0 kilometers? I mean, things like that really catch your attention. It's not this one. Let me see. I'm not removing it. Here it is. It's a magnitude 2 earthquake. It's right there. It wants to show me another earthquake. No, not that one. Wait, no. Romano, here it is. I mean, it's a magnitude 2 earthquake that would have 0 kilometers of depth. How can it be 0 kilometers deep, like completely on the surface? Right? I mean, that kind of situation really stands out. Check if it's this one now. Yes, this one right here. Yes, this one that's at 0 kilometers depth, it says. Yeah, it's really curious, huh? There it is, right? That's the thing. 2 out of 2, 3, the magnitude 0 kilometers deep. Me? Well, yes, it really catches my attention. It's not a swarm that can have, well, many, possibilities. No, I mean, many causes. Exactly, no.
And, but people always talk about fracking, and just now I was reading an article that said that besides fracking causing this possibly, right? They say that they inject salt water that will end up contaminating everything that is the water table, right? The rivers, whatever underground rivers there are, etc., will end up being contaminated with this water. That too.
Exactly. That's a point that, well, sooner or later is going to come to light, right? When they try to extract that so-called fresh water, it won't really be fresh anymore, will it? It might already be unusable water, right? That's also going to be a future problem. No, as usual, just sweeping problems under the rug until they become bigger issues.
Nietos, no?
Exactly. It's not falling. Well, it's part, let's say, of what's happening right now. There's also this, and that's why it really catches my attention that nobody talks about it. Because in the end, there's a big interest and we have to. One of the reasons why the United States economy has held up in recent years has been precisely because of fracking. I mean, they have found a less polluting fracking method according to them, but they have also managed to increase their production capacity to levels they never imagined. I mean, fracking, it has been a great business, a great development in that sense, but also, well, with...
At what cost?
At what cost? Maybe serious future problems, right? Even though supposedly the processes have been improved to make them less polluting, or so they say. Well, for example, I have a friend who works in oil transportation in Texas. Yeah, and he says seismic activity is already common and normal now. I mean, he works all over that area and he tells me, yeah, it's normal now. And they say, yeah, it's possibly because of that. I mean, they think so. Yeah, because they've lived in Texas their whole lives and know the area well. And they say, well, no, this wasn't seen before. And now, well, it's clear that could be the reason, right? Or at least that's what they believe now. But let's move on to other matters. Let's go to other important topics as well. But let's stay alert to what's happening here with the seismic activity. By the way, since we're on this topic, let me tell you where the most important earthquakes happened today, since we're approaching the end of the year. Today there was this earthquake in Japan, or at least near one of its islands, Japan, which was a 5.2, was the largest earthquake in the world. No, I mean, there haven't been any really significant earthquakes reported. Here it is as well. This is an earthquake that occurred in this area of Jakarta or near Indonesia. No, in this part, a 5.2. They have also continued due to recent earthquakes, including a recent 6 magnitude quake. Do you remember here in Papua, in New Guinea? Yes, well, the aftershocks have continued, and the aftershocks have also continued in Japan. In this area, where there have been several earthquakes, but not today, but in the last few days, they've had several earthquakes, and this earthquake also happened. Let me see if I can put it as 5.1. Off the coast of Russia, in Kamchatka, there's also been a lot of activity in Kamchatka in these last few days. But anyway, aside from that, let's move on to other matters. Thank you very much, by the way, to the whole community that's watching us. Thanks for sharing and for liking. Let's move on to other topics, to other important matters.
Well, the United States has ordered its military to get ready because there will basically be a siege on what would be Venezuela regarding the oil tankers. According to reports, obviously this gets leaked, right? The White House announced to the military forces that they are going to focus or exclusively concentrate on what they call a quarantine of Venezuelan oil. For approximately, at least they say, 2 months, which means that for 2 months we probably won't see any movements on the ground. Only this, well, piracy, let's call it not piracy, of Venezuelan oil tankers, just to generate more pressure, right? Against Nicolas Maduro. The economic issue significantly affects them, even though military options remain. The goal is to first use economic pressure through the application of sanctions to achieve the result the White House is seeking.
Look, there's a case of an oil tanker that was heading to Venezuela, one of those ships, right? If you have the information, yes, because they lost control of it.
Yes, on the Vea 1, they had it on Vea 2.
Huh? The chase continues? It's certain they'll report it?
No, there are 2 ships. The other was the Vea 2.
But there's one that's still continuing the chase. Yes, the one, yes?
The Vea 1? It's a very large oil tanker, much bigger than the Coast Guard ships, that has been evading the United States blockade. So basically, it has managed to maneuver in a way that's, she says, quite unusual. This weekend, for example, it turned, she says, refused to be boarded, and sped away from Venezuela. So even though it's a large ship, it manages not to speed up and get away from the Coast Guard. In theory, being bigger should make it slower.
Well, I mean, they haven't managed to catch it.
They haven't managed to catch it.
They haven't managed to stop it.
They've chased it for over 5 days.
5 days of pursuit, well...
Doesn't this pursuit make him look ridiculous?
Well, yes, I mean...
It's because it's the Coast Guard and the United States Army. They're both running, searching, sailing after him.
How crazy, yeah, well, sailing, let's say, at full speed, and they haven't been able to find him in 5 days. Where's the oil? Don't you remember?
According to me, it was from Ilani, it says here. Oh no, look, check it out, it says. By December 10th, the United States had already seized 2 oil tankers. Yes, so the reason why he was seeing is not publicly known. One refuses to comply with the orders. The Coast Guard, what else does it bring besides oil? Doesn't it bring something else? But the property belongs to Lewis Marine Shipholding Enterprise, which is based in Turkey. Attempts to make contact have not been acknowledged, and well, that's something that's causing harm, which also isn't talked about much by the United States government. They don't address it.
No, that's the thing. I mean, it's known the information gets leaked, let's say, but it's not something the United States is talking about, well, the White House.
And it's a ship that was supposedly already sanctioned. Well, it had already been sanctioned because it had transported Iranian oil from the black market to an organization designated as terrorist, which, well, are the UTIS and Hezbollah.
This ship was supposedly sanctioned. It had transported Iranian oil to organizations designated as the UTIs and Hezbollah. People are discussing the artificial intelligence bubble. And notice that Americans are starting to invest. Even globally, they're starting to invest a lot in Asia. But what do you think? Not from the United States, not from Europe, from China. Global investors are starting to turn their attention to China while there is fear of a bubble and artificial intelligence. And through all this, there has been an almost silent but very strong change. More investors in tech markets are betting on Chinese artificial intelligence companies. Despite the current dominance shared by China, the United States, and this also has to be acknowledged, right now the United States is the one dominating the field of AIs. But are they? What is convenient for you as an investor? Well, it's convenient for you to get into companies that are just starting out and have the potential to accelerate. This time, according to Reuters, international investors are diversifying their portfolios and are already investing, for example, in Tencent, Baidu, and Alibaba, whose shares have risen significantly in recent months.
Exactly. The goal is to protect themselves in case of a possible AI bubble in the United States. So they're diversifying the risk, as they say. And the most talked about case is Michael Burry, the same one who predicted the 2008 crisis, who has been investing against Nvidia. And this move obviously has raised alarms among analysts and the investment fund.
I have a comment for the sneaker.
Leave the dishes like that.
No, I was going to say the opposite. I mean, it depends. It depends. Like, if you want to stay awake, yeah, the dishes, well, they do wake me up. Like, when I'm suddenly, like, smiling or whatever, they can do something to you. No, I already know about the dishes.
But you're going to sleep anyway.
Well, yes, I mean, going to sleep is also very good, right? Yes, but if she wants to stay awake until then, well, just go. Yes, but anyway, greetings, Zapatilla. How have you been? A big hello and also a greeting, he says. Zapatilla says Christicas too. Just leave them alone.
They won't leave. They'll always be there, waiting for you. They're incredibly loyal and always by your side.
They're always there. He agrees. Tomorrow, Saturday, 8 days. From what I heard, he has already been arrested. And even though the Burke was found loaded, you say, the one who was going is someone who was going to get into oil. Yes, then they had. Officially, 3 ships have been taken and this one that got away, which to this day is still active. Now, going back to the topic, there are several startups. Those are the ones investors usually like. Companies like, yes.
Because you grow more.
Trades, known by Nvidia as the Chinese Nvidia, they call more trades, grew 500 after it left the stock market. Chinese company Meta X, another chip firm, shot up 685, 86, 688. Another one that also stands out is Cambry, with Byron Technology, Huawei, and Simic. Also an IAS and growing? Why do investors prefer China right now? Well, why? Because they see that Xi Jinping is betting everything on the IAS. He's focusing on the IAS. The thing about business here for investors, let's say, is that it's apolitical. They don't care whether it's democratic or not. I mean, where there's business and I can invest and they assure me that my investment can grow, that's where I'll invest, right? So that's what's happening now, right? In the end, investors are just going to see where many of those companies are on international stock exchanges, so you can invest through your own country's markets without investing directly in China. With your country's rules, but thinking that there will be business with China in that sense, well, that's the thing. I don't know if there's going to be a bubble or not, but in the meantime, it's interesting that the ideas will keep coming. It's like the dot-com issue. There was a bubble because the expectations were too high. I think that could happen with ideas. The expectations are too high, and what will happen with ideas is really huge. Will it happen tomorrow? No. In a year? Still no. It will take time to develop. Well, maybe they'll say, okay, we're here, we've already invested and everything, but if the good stuff is coming in 10 years, then I'll just pull out now and see what else I can invest in. All right, let's move on to other matters. Take a look at the following case. Some say this is the robbery of the year, which may be an exaggeration, but they've turned it into a joke and not taken it seriously. Because a man in Florida is accused of stealing 181 kilograms of avocados to resell them and supposedly, well, to pay for his children's gifts. What better gift than an avocado? Well, according to a case, it's very unusual, very curious. In Florida during the holiday season, Edel Perez, a 29-year-old man was arrested last December 22 in Miami-Dade, accused of stealing around 181 kilos of avocados from a local orchard. His motive? He said he needed money to buy Christmas gifts for his children.
And well, the story gained a lot of attention when sheriff's deputies caught him loading bags filled with avocados into the trunk of his Mercedes-Benz, which was strategically parked near the farmland so he could enter the orchard. And he has also been accused of cutting the fence, which has made the case more serious. I mean, that's why he could end up spending even more time in jail. When he was confronted, Perez was wearing a hoodie, a classic outfit for if you're going to steal, right? So he was found with the vehicle completely full of avocados, and the authorities estimate that the theft amounts to $800. It's not a big deal either. Well, it is a lot of money, but it's not a huge amount of money. And while the justice system in Florida hasn't taken it lightly, they haven't charged for trespassing and grand theft. Since it exceeded the limit, it would be $750. They left 200 avocados.
And with that, he would get away with it.
With that, he would get away with it. And well, if he was found guilty, he would have to spend up to 5 years in prison and pay a fine of $5,000. Oh, it's going to cost him even more.
Much more expensive, right?
He doesn't need anything else. I mean,
Also, don't let them take anything else. I mean, obviously, this post in the end isn't a theft, right? And the point here is, do you really have a Mercedes Benz?
but it's old, really old.
Either way, I mean, more than $800 if they give you that, yeah, right? I mean, if you really want the gift, then just go sell it, right? The car that's been stolen the most, it's also been stolen the most. Well, there you have the case of Mr. Perez with the theft of the world's largest guacamole.
It's not guacamole in a hole-in-the-wall place.
A guacamole, a treasure he carried, honestly. Well, let's move on to other important matters as well. This, for example, is let's go to what this Buddha has said. No, not the intelligence chief, not this gentleman we're seeing here on the screen. They say Buddha. No, that Russia would be recruiting hundreds of thousands of soldiers right now and is already aiming to recruit many more. The Ukrainian intelligence alert claims that they plan to recruit about 409,000 soldiers, not just people, for next year, even raising the payments to compensate for the massive casualties. A lot of people are dying on the front. A lot of soldiers are losing their lives. Of those on the front, about 50% come back alive, right? I mean, it's an impressive number, and others claim that the losses are even greater. But the point is that Russia is losing a lot of people. They're bringing in thousands of Hindus, Indians, Chinese, and Africans to be able to have labor because they don't have it right now, and also to have soldiers, right? Sometimes they take them away, sometimes not.
Right now, there's an investigation going on in South Africa because the president's daughter is allegedly recruiting people to take them to Russia.
Well, exactly.
Obviously with tricks.
Yes, well. Another issue is that Vladimir Putin would also already be announcing this tax increase. Putin will seek to fund the Ukraine war's shortfall by increasing taxes in Russia. In 2026, value-added tax will increase by 22%, so there's no way to avoid it. Value-added tax goes up by 22%. All the human losses from what they still call a special military operation today. They won't even call it a war. At the very least, just call it a war, right? So that the soldier dies with a little more, in quotes, honor. He wasn't in a war? No, he was in a special operation, right? The Ministry of Finance acknowledges that the war, which they call a special operation, is a strategic priority, and that's why they intend to spend more money on that conflict. The strategic priority is to guarantee the funding of the country's security and defense needs. That's what the Ministry of Finance said.
Exactly. I was here just recently after raising the value-added tax to 20% this year, but now next year it will go up to 22%.
That's the issue. Let's move on to other important topics. There's an image that was circulating that's in Chicago. Well, it's different shots of these drones that have been coming back. This happened in the summer of 2025. But now images are coming out from Chicago that would show those objects that have been flying over strategic areas, supposedly. And well, they show, this case too. Here's another case that caught my attention. I don't know your thoughts, but several people captured this in Austria. I don't know.
It's an old iron. I mean,
honestly, I don't know what it is, but it's in Austria or Australia. Sorry. Well, they realized that this object was here. I'm going to get pretty close. This is the object. We wanted it, right? I mean, apparently it was flying silently. It was flying pretty fast, but it wasn't moving back and forth. It was going in a straight line. So then they managed to take some pictures of it. This is it, zoomed in at 30 times. They thought it was strange when they saw it from afar. They said, "What is this?" They couldn't make out its shape. They took a picture. They said, "It's a drone because it's not a plane."
No, it's definitely not the helicopter.
Neither. Not this one. I don't know. I imagine.
It's a drone from the future. They say it's a drone from the future. No way. They say no, that's what it looks like to me. Well, obviously nothing to do with it. It looks like Donald Duck to me.
Ah, it's the duck, Donald Duck's head.
Flying like Donald Duck with a beak-shaped hat.
No, with a snorkel.
A snorkel?
A snorkel on all things.
I imagine it's a flying iron, right?
Flying iron? Yeah, it could be really weird.
They also seem very creative to me.
The aliens, right? Or maybe it's a witch, but she's carrying one.
Ah, we're showing her the back.
Exactly, it's a little witch and that...
The cape is flying.
Yes, exactly. It's like, well, let's say, yeah, we're seeing her butt. I mean...
The little witch Kiki, the one from the world. Look.
Would these be the little cheeks? Yeah. I mean, to do... No. Well, that's what I was telling you. That's what I was going to say. Those are the cheeks, and this is the dress flying.
I mean, since she has her butt above the dress, right?
No. The bottom part of the dress. Yes, and it's flying up. These are the little cheeks. And she's bent over, holding onto the broom, but it's an aerodynamic broom. That's why she has the broom.
That's a hat.
There it is. That hat, there it is.
That's the broom? No, it doesn't have a shape. Is it a flying witch or just a witch? They reminded me of the Snorks, the cartoon.
Saying the Snorks is fine? Well, that's it. That's good. Let's leave it here. Let's see if we solve the mystery. Let's see.
About the little witch or...
The Snorks.
It's really weird.
This thing is really weird. Well, let's go to the comments. Come on, let's go. Hey, what an imagination.
Says Marita Hernandez. Putin's abuses against Ukraine are nauseating. What evil in such a diabolical mind. And the truth is, wow, besides all that, it comes back because we're seeing that many soldiers want to return. They come back with a super violent attitude because in the end, war always brings out the worst and also the best. But many times you see the worst in people and that comes back. It's not something you forget or just switch off. Even if I turn it off at home, it doesn't disappear for good.
It lingers, he says. It's like a flying toad. Greetings, Walter.
I'm Harry Potter's cousin Yuri.
Harry Potter's cousin?
Maybe?
What's the name of Harry Potter's cousin?
He doesn't have any female cousins. He doesn't have any female cousins. He doesn't have any female cousins.
He doesn't have any relatives.
No, he's not an orphan.
He has his uncle.
Yes, but the uncle has nothing, and I think he's dying, right? In the book Spoils.
Yes.
You didn't see it? You're not interested? Say hi to Walter? Yeah, he's a crazy guy, like a little panther. The Snorkers cartoon was my favorite. We watched cartoons from the 80s. Yeah, Snorkers and the Monkikis.
I don't remember this one. They're funny.
They're funny. Yeah, funny. Yeah, I really like these. And the Monkikis.
Yeah, the Monkikis too. That's right. I don't recognize it because of you. No, I can't hear, Pepe says. I believe United States leadership won't let the country's future rest solely with the president. Yes, I was telling my son that today too. Because, well, look. Yes, it can be tempting. It can be tempting to say we need to dismantle the intelligences because they have so much power. And this one? And because, listen, I mean, all the world's intelligence agencies have their dark sides. I mean, if you look for it, you'll find the FBI, CIA, Mossad. The intelligence agencies of any country have their dark sides. Definitely. And sometimes they have to do certain things that are questionable. Well, they're pretty questionable, right? Yes, of course. On the other hand, it's also said that these intelligence agencies have managed to balance out the excesses of power. Suddenly, craziness reaches the presidents. In fact, it's claimed that without the intelligence agencies of Russia and the United States, a nuclear war would have happened during the Cold War. If it weren't for the fact that their intelligence agencies leaked information to each other, sent things, yes, to let the other side, the enemy, who they still considered an enemy, know. It's not that they were on the other side's side, it's just that they were saying, hey, let's create some checks and balances, right? Intelligence agencies often have significant power because they understand upcoming consequences. And suddenly, yes. On one hand, there should be oversight, there should be, as they say, internal investigations so that those intelligence agencies don't become corrupt. That's crucial because a corrupt intelligence agency puts the entire country at risk. However, intelligence agencies are necessary to maintain balance, so they're kind of like that necessary evil sometimes. They just have to exist. And if there are people doing things they shouldn't, well, they also have to face the consequences. That's important too. And yeah, that's why they're also so appealing for movies, right? Because they have a lot of dark sides. And when these agents leave, they usually write their memoirs and books and all that. And what happens, for example, with the series Homeland, in the series Homeland, a lot of things that happen there are totally questionable, but many other things are not. There's this kind of movement that suddenly happens for a greater good, in theory. And you say, yeah, but just look at what you're doing, right? So yeah, it's really, really crazy, isn't it? The topic.
It's kind of like the dilemma of whether to run over 5 people or run over all of humanity, right? So you say they must apply those things repeatedly?
Many times those things, and well, if you can, watch Homeland. It's on Netflix now. I've been watching it there.
They put it on Netflix?
Yes, they put it on Netflix. The series is really good. The writers were in contact with many intelligence agents in order to... In fact, it got to a point when the series was coming out that there were cases so similar to what was happening in real life that they had to put a disclaimer saying that this was fiction and that it wasn't based on any real story or anything. But it's very similar because the real agents themselves were there, giving information and details about how things are handled, right? And well, it's there, it's interesting.
Greetings to Nancy Pelaez in Carpal Attack. Greetings to Marvin.
Greetings, Leonardo Adasso.
He says he has a cousin, but only Dudley, the chubby one, exists. But he's a very, very annoying cousin. Besides, he doesn't have magic, so he's not really a cousin. Greetings to whom, who, Harry Potter, who, a cousin named Dudley.
He never imagined it.
No, he's not. He just annoys him along with his uncles. Greetings to Panterita, who mentions the monkey keys and also says yes.
The monkey keys exist.
Yes, add monkey keys and greet Cipriano Delgado. How are you? He says he doesn't know the monkey keys either, and that you're a bit younger. So they didn't last long in the 80s. Look.
This is the witch from Monterrey, the famous one. Right now, Wigoof is telling me to put her on. Look, that's a good idea, Wigoof, because yeah, look, I don't know. They call her a witch. I would call it a drone, unidentified flying object, something else. But anyway, there it is. That's it.
That's it. It was going like that, so that's how it is. There it is.
Look, there it is. Well, that's one of several, but that mountain doesn't look familiar to me.
Sí, la Huasteca, right? No?
It could be La Huasteca. Look, yes. It could be La Huasteca, yes. Let me check if there's another picture. No, put it up, put it up.
Greetings to Carolina, who is watching us from Valencia, Venezuela. Greetings, Carolina.
Greetings, Carolina.
Panteri also sends greetings. Tapatea says, I never saw that cartoon. I was too busy raising my first child and working.
Greetings, Tapatea. Very good greetings.
Greetings to Jose Sarate. She says, I first heard about the Monchichi cartoon Sarate because you were in the United States.
Look, here are those other images. Look.
Are you crazy?
Yeah, he's really crazy. He's really crazy, right?
We have Star Wars. Nothing about drugs here.
Yeah, it's really crazy. When you zoom in and stabilize the image and everything, it's amazing. Honestly.
Yeah, tell them that I left my place because of some issues. Yeah, I actually rented it to a friend. Do you remember? Yeah, really good. Well, for me, right? Yeah, you know. And now the tenant doesn't want to leave? Oh, it can't be. No.
It can't be.
Was Polly really that bad? Oh, well. Greetings to Walter, and he looks like a seal.
He made me a seal or the other thing.
I think it's the other one, yes, says Marvin. Do you remember the police officers who saw the witch in Mexico City? Yes, they're really traumatized. There are a lot of really intense stories from cops. Yeah. Some of them are almost like, what's it called? Like an exorcist?
Yeah.
Greetings to Danny Villara and Miguel Angel. How are you? Sepanterita, are you picking up an ad? Yeah, it's too much now. Everyone who goes in there gets ruined because of your neighbors.
Yeah, let's go.
Hello, Carlos Martinez. How are you?
Greetings, Carlos. Very good. You've been kind of down all this time. It's been like that with ups and downs. YouTube is crashing for someone because we see it like this and it just leaves without explanation.
It's in the download and just stops, and these are detectors.
Yes.
Because lately, wow, it was crashing a lot. The state doesn't have a peak, but it does have little peaks.
Little peaks, right? Yes, no, well, and please tell us if it has been dropping, if you've seen that, because they do ask me.
It's been happening a lot lately, and it's tough, right? These ones from Cloudflare, Amazon Service, Keras don't go down. And the bad thing is that basically all the big websites use them.
Exactly. Let's see. Let's check out the Monjikis because I don't remember.
You say yes, the Monjikis. You say here at home they still celebrate. They still keep celebrating.
Yes.
Did you grow up over there already?
Yes, no, with the one they're leaving with, yes.
The Monjikis.
The Monjikis. Do they look like, what are the ones from Star Wars called?
Yes, like the Ewoks, who also have their own cartoon. I remember, and the Ewoks cartoon is really good.
It's good, but yes.
Who watched it? I love that one. I like that one more than this one, honestly, the ebooks. Greetings, he says. He says greetings to Walter too.
What's up?
Here, Panterito is giving Alex Kane legal support? Yes, Panterita. Tell him what to do, he says. I made a Darth Vader on a flying broomstick, but you're not showing it? What?
The Monjikis?
The Monjikis?
I'm looking for a good photo for you, but I don't see one.
They're actually drawings. I didn't find any photos.
No, there are no drawings. It's just all...
These are the drawings. Yes.
But it's not a drawing you can color.
I mean, this was the entrance. Yes, the entrance. Page of the old ladies, but beautiful ones. I saw the photo there. Yes, the photo icon says yes. The Monchichis, but I called them Monjikis. Remember, they were Monjikis?
Monchichis. That's what they call us. Yes, I'm one of the Monjikis.
Says Carlos Martinez. It's great that the president of Mexico with the Carria regime, how good the president is with the Caribbean regime, oxygenating it with oil. Yes, well, it's been a very controversial topic, right? Very controversial. Because yes, Cuba is going to have a harder time with what the United States is doing. Cuba is the main one affected right now.
Of course.
Of course, he says. Ruben Vega Juarez, greetings from Monterrey. Greetings, Ruben. How are you?
Greetings, Ruben. Greetings.
Greetings to Sarah. Did you want that device for the one from Cocoon? Also, come on. She says, I'm worried. Yes, it's just that what's happening to her is really tough. Be careful with that. Greetings, Hector Palacensis. Greetings from San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio, Texas, the second land of the kings, right? Also, they go on vacation and clog up the highway going over there.
There.
There, Macalé.
Many relatives, friends, he says. The object will only influence the rotational movement of the object, but they are thrusters if so much mass is lost. Are you talking about the Terciatlas?
Yes, reversal is included?
I guess so. I'm just putting the Terciatlas on the screen, but do you know what it is? It's just that I went to an old chat I had open here. Never mind.
Says Miguel Angel. Greetings. In intelligence services, things that shouldn't be done still must be done. Strong earthquake in Lima. Also, WhatsApp was down for a few minutes at 7:30 post meridium. Like 5, not 5 points, by the way.
Aren't you on WhatsApp? I mean, me too, I have WhatsApp, but it's been having a lot of issues for a while now, right? I mean...
And the computers?
And the computers? Yeah, what about them? Here, could this be it? If it gives 5 points, let's see. No, wait, 4-6 is handled here, and this other one is 4-6. Let's see if they update it right now. But yeah, but here it is. Look at this one. I imagine it must be that one. Greetings. It says greetings to Ecuador as well, to Vanessa. How have you been, Vanessa? Thank you very much, Carlos Martinez. Sending you a big greeting, and thanks for your comment. Who else is out there?
Greetings also to Neri. Marta says hello. You two are the best. God bless you. Thank you, Neri. How are you?
Greetings. Very good, Neri.
Here it says, today there was a solar storm, says Neri. A solar storm, huh? That there was a solar storm today?
No. I haven't seen anything like that.
Maybe, Alex G says. He first asked me for 4 months to stabilize and find somewhere else, and I agreed so he'd be protected. I gave him a contract, but it's already ending. Well, yes, they were the Monchichis, but we pronounced it like monkeys, the monkeys.
Greetings. This one says, okay.
Huh? Says Neri. The communications have been terrible. The internet has gone down a lot, says Neri.
It's been that day.
The internet is going down.
The internet or YouTube and communications, okay?
Okay, says Francisco Arce. Exactly. There's no money for Mexican farmers, but they're supporting the Cuban regime. Wow. It's just that if you say, hey, we already have... there are difficulties in the country, and just like that, it's a gift. No, it's not a payment or anything.
Exactly, yes.
Greetings to Tapatia, who is consulting a lawyer. Alex. Yes, of course. Well, yes, yes. If they're destroying my apartment, then the contract can expire. Yes, no, they're not damaging the apartment and you're not charging them rent, right? Alex asks. Huh? Ergem. Linda, what are they talking about? The FBI's credibility for the United States? It has zero credibility.
Look, I'm reviewing the data because you can't speak for all of the United States. We need to look at the data. If you don't trust the FBI, well, that's fine. But look, according to American Public Media Research Lab, this laboratory that's precisely in charge of statistics all over the United States, and not just that, he claims, but that's just one person's opinion. 10% of adults practically always believe the FBI, and then 40% trust them most of the time, but not in some cases. And then there's the other 50% who trust less. So basically about half is half of that in the United States. About 40% trust them, 10% basically trust them, and the rest are more or less distrustful.
Blindly?
Blindly. So, well, I say yes. There's a high percentage, about 50, that tends to distrust the FBI, right? That's the 50 that Trump targets to try to.
Interestingly, 54% of those who trust the FBI are Republicans and 45% are Democrats.
Well, this and the trend has always been that Democrats trust the FBI more and Republicans not so much. But that has also been changing. According to what they report, it dropped from 65 to 45 among Democrats. Since Patel has been there, has the distrust among Democrats increased? Since this person has been there?
Yes, the main thing is to look into his eyes with trust.
Exactly, yes, because often perception, like our friend says, is that it's not the entire United States. Well, no, we have to look at the numbers, right? So we don't fall into that because perception can be very misleading. It makes us think one thing, and the numbers in reality, well, are often different, or sometimes they confirm what is not just perception, but, well, it depends, right? I mean, that's what data is for. That's what information is for.
Hello to Vanessa Zapp in El Salvador. How are you, Vanessa? Vice says, Wico, put the Black Knight orbiting the Earth, Waiko says.
That's really cool. Let's see if we can get an image of this little star. We'll put it up. Let me quickly talk about what's coming in the next few days. Yes, about the cold. When is the cold coming? Because it seems that, well, starting from the past. Tomorrow, the cold won't be approaching in many areas, both in the United States and in Mexico. And, well, here we can see it. That is, starting tomorrow, the front coming from the west side of the United States will begin to speed up. Not towards Mexico, but towards the southern United States. And by the 28th in the afternoon, it will practically extend towards the east and also move a little further south. So Texas will also notice the temperature changes, but not so much for us, although there will start to be chances of rain starting Monday. Here where we are, and well, we'll see how it goes. Cold weather will affect almost all of the United States starting on the 29th. There are a few states that are spared in terms of not having freezing temperatures, but most of the United States will have below zero temperatures starting on the night of the 29th. So, we'll end the year with cold weather, which I think is good. We're seeing it on the 30th and 31st, and then starting on the 1st, there's a possible vortex coming around the 3rd or 4th. Let's see if it stays in this area. It could be. We'll have to wait and see because I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's going to be cold. The first days of January, starting around Monday, you'll start to feel the cold a bit more and above all, the sensation of cold. Why? Well, because there will be an accumulation of water during those days. If we observe, humidity will begin increasing to the west. In fact, for some parts of Mexico, there will be cold or cool temperatures. Some areas may see frost, and also with humidity throughout the entire western area. In this part of the Gulf of Mexico, it will be very humid. It may not be cold, but significant humidity is expected, and in some places we can already see cloudier days. It appears it still isn't raining in most of the country, even though there will be more humidity, and as a result the cold will feel stronger, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Until January 10th, and practically throughout the north and center of the country, there won't be any heavy rains. Where it does accumulate is in the west, northwest, and southeast, the two extremes, so to speak. Tomorrow, if you want, we can fully analyze how things will be on January 1st and see what happens.
Marvin, how's gold doing? Is it going up?
Way up right now.
And the dollar is going down?
Right now, it's breaking. Yes, the dollar has dropped a few cents compared to how it was this morning, let's say, against the peso, for example. And gold is, at this moment, reaching another all-time high. Here it is. I mean, right now it has a price it's never had in history, 5,000, which is what it had. Right now, we're going to get a little closer to the peak, this point that it reached a few minutes ago. It's $5,550. Yes. Impressive, really, impressive. And there is some debate, right? Whether it'll hit 10,000 or 5,000, who knows how high it'll go. But as long as they continue, if institutions keep buying heavily, prices will keep rising, right? We're less than 2 hours from Zamora, the CIA Spain. Greetings, Maria.
Greetings, Maria. How are you, Maria Alexandra?
Greetings to Spain, greetings to Spain. How have you been? Very good, Tapatia. Very well.
Greetings.
The silver, yes, impressive, impressive.
Platinum also went up.
Yes, yes, yes.
Alex says, that's not a friend, Alex. That's not been a friend for a long time, he says. About 25 years ago, I dated a beautiful girl. This same guy started looking for her at home and school, saying, I'm here so we can meet up with Alex. He's waiting for us, and nothing. I didn't know until she told me she felt harassed by him and that I wasn't showing up, but I wasn't there because I didn't know anything. No?
Man, Alex, I mean, why would you let those people in? Honestly?
Right, it's crazy.
That kind of thing is an absolute red flag. No?
No, he doesn't respect you.
No, not respecting. So, well...
Kick him out. Well, yes.
Yes, no, I'm not saying that. I mean, get some advice on this. And, well, let it get to whatever it needs to, because it really is a delicate matter. I mean, you should really get legal advice, okay? Ask if you have friends who are lawyers. If you have friends, first ask them to see what can be done. And then check, not there. Pantelita is telling me, social prosecutor's office, it's called ProSoc.
Yes, she's already telling her what to do.
Yes.
Pantelita is tough, Pantelita.
He knows the whole topic. So, check it out carefully, Alex. But yeah, take it easy. Don't do anything weird. Just be patient. And well, that's it, he says. Greetings, Marvin. Very good. How have you been? Alright, Alex. We're waiting for the red flags email like you said.
Not super flags. Greetings, Giuliano. Hermosa sends greetings from Socio Vivienda to you and Carlos Martinez. Thank you for the greeting. I already greatly appreciate your work. Thanks, Carlos. Greetings to Bertin. Mercedes, how are you?
Greetings, Mercedes. Very good.
What does DF say? Greetings to Francisco Arte. Joey also asks, Pepe, how is it there? Did you say it? Yes, the weather too. Greetings to Maria Alexandra. We greet her too. And well, yes, there are good friends here. The Homeland says yes?
Yes, exactly.
She says, we already talked about the money.
Greetings, Mario Falcon. He's from Argentina, he says, with strong storms. Here.
Yes.
I enjoy quality images. Let's check the satellite now. In Argentina, things seem to be calmer now, but look, for example, in the south, there's definitely a storm all over the southern part and then up north. I mean, if we look at the previous 24 hours, we can also see a bit of how things have been, right? But what else?
What else does it say? Here? Panterita? It says oh no, it says Panterita. I did the same because of a supposed friend, but it worked out for me. It says that the other day I saw a bit of an awards ceremony they did for him. What's Denzel Washington's name? And he said never. No matter how close you are, never let non-family members live in your house. That it's a big mistake, that you should help them in another way, but never. That, because there's always going to be a problem there. And I mean, sometimes we do it because that's how we Latinos are, right? Like, we're very much like, oh, let them stay here for a little while, but then it does start to create some discomfort. It's really hard, and well, she says, greetings from Dilcia Sendeño. How are you? Wyckoff says, that's why it's better to be distrustful. Carlos Martinez says that when economies end currency devaluation but inflation continues, they still steal from you. Carlos Martin?
Greetings, Carlos.
Greetings. It says greetings from Panama. Greetings from Dilcia.
Very good from Dilcia. Greetings. And she says that's why you have to be distrustful. I mean, I feel like yes, and many times it's just, well, to keep going. I've had experiences on both sides. For example, a friend who was invited to share an apartment. And honestly, he couldn't pay his share, so he couldn't do it. And after a month, he said, no, I really can't. And so he moved out.
Yes, but there they were more like roommates.
Exactly. Was I responsible for paying then? So I said, you know what? If not, I'll just find someone else. And I already did. We went to Mikas, and it was always smooth with no problems. It was great because it saved me money. I mean, not having to pay the full amount myself because it had 2 bedrooms. So it was spacious. The apartment was nice, right? And then I also lived in an apartment with a cousin, and there were no problems either. There were times when he couldn't, or I couldn't, because it was the first time the 2 of us were living together, right? So it was kind of an adventure. And there, well, we helped each other out however we could. And well, also without any problems. I mean, I'm saying something, yes, it's possible. It's just that, well, you have to be around there. Does anyone else give advice on that topic? Like saying, if you're going to make a deal with someone, make the deal with those people you don't even need a contract with. You need absolute trust to just shake hands. If you don't have that, it's better not to proceed. As they say, no matter what you sign, if someone will let you down, they will. No matter the signatures or signing, they'll still let you down. If you already feel distrustful, you shouldn't make them sign here, 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 and here. It's better not to do anything. And don't do anything because obviously there could be trouble. I found the topic interesting. Honestly, it's either full trust or none.
Yeah, there are so many different perspectives, right? For example, Jimmy Kimmel has always worked with friends. He's there. Well, he was, because he just passed away. There was a friend from elementary school. They've known each other for a long time. He was in charge of the music. Does his dad work on the show, or does he have like a lot of family members and friends working on the show with him? And on the other hand, the other day, there was a businessman who said that he never, ever worked with friends or family members because he couldn't, have that position of power if he was with someone who had known him his whole life. So it's really variable.
For creative projects, I think it's better with friends. It is what it is because, well, yeah, it's time to work, but it's also time to have fun. That's what's gonna make the project successful, right? That there is a good atmosphere.
But it also depends. For example, some film directors are dictators. Yes.
Yes, because it depends on the type of project or a play, a musical that requires a lot of discipline. Well, it's really tough. But in the case of a show, or in the case of, it depends if it's a documentary.
The person as well, yes.
Of the person as well, yes, exactly.
Says Panterita. Astrid needed a psychiatrist, so her children took her, which made things worse for me. Greetings to Walter and Ruben Nuringa, who is watching from Panama. And Roberto Ballesteros is also here, who says hello.
How have you been?
Francisco Arce, he says. Here we say your house is my house and your house is my house instead of my house is your house. Greetings, Belalak. How are you? Wyckoff also says, I told you that lady didn't give me a good feeling. Greetings to Está Todo El Chisme and Irma, who sends greetings from Mexico and Ecatepec. Panterita says, I turned out just like my dad. We try to help with whatever we can, she says. Nor do we lend money. It's because of embarrassment, she says.
I think sometimes it's better. If you have the chance, if someone needs something, to just give it so it's not a loan. But I also think you can lend if possible. And they'll return it, but I stress it must be someone truly trustworthy. There are people who are really noble.
Some people will definitely return it to you.
Who will give it back to you, and if they don't, it's because they'll lose. I always say there are people who are just good people. That's how they are. You say they're usually the people who will never ask you, right? Or, because they don't like to bother people, they don't like it, but sometimes, yeah, that's just how it is. Now they sent us a video. Omar, I send you my regards.
Greetings, Omar.
He's in New York. I wasn't going to say no, but he's there.
Who? Omar, yes.
He's in New York. Look at this. Wow.
That's great.
That's cool. Let's see. There's audio. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like rain or snow, right?
It's supposed to be snowing more than usual at this time.
At this time. Yes. Wow, there it is. Just look at that. What a beautiful image. Thank you so much for sharing it. Greetings, Omar. Let's all move aside so we can see and appreciate the image better all the way to New York. It's just a few seconds, but you can really appreciate it. There it is. Let's see. So, what did you do, Omar? Did you record it and rewind it again? Right to the good part, right to the good part, yes?
Little leg, my mom says she'll lend it to me, but only because she knows where I live, she says. Maria Alexandra says. Maria Alexandra says, always remember before helping that you could lose the friendship or relationship with your family or friend.
Yes, I mean this...
Well, Edilcia says everything should be done in writing, says Edilcia. And here Leonardo Pepe says, I know, I exercise for an hour a day, and I still have a long way to go to look like The Rock. Doesn't he spend hours and hours, and on top of that, everything he eats?
Who says that? Who says that? Leonardo. Hey, Leonardo. I remember, I think you're kind of on the slim side, not like this guy. Yeah, diet is 80% no, yeah.
It is.
It's intense. The whole thing about volume and exercise. The best thing now is the abundance of good information, as long as you know how to find it. Don't do anything strange. There are some really weird things out there. Focus on good nutrition, do your research, and you might get lucky with something else if you have the chance. Check out what Edilcia sent. How cool! How cool! This picture. Yeah, no, Caribel. Sorry, this one is from Caribel. Let's check out this picture. Caribel, greetings. Look at that. So Christmassy Caribel greetings, huh? This is over here. That's right. And there's everything. And that's it. But with a Christmas style, really great.
Super cool.
Thank you very much for sharing it.
Thank you very much. Cheers, she says, grateful for this. Years ago, a young girl was homeless and lost. I invited her to stay at my house. While I went to work, she'd wear my clothes, go for a walk, and make a mess, she says. Biggest regards?
Crazy. That's it. It's crazy. I mean, yeah.
No, it's not that many.
Huh? No. That's the one his dad left him. The dad that this man is leaving him.
No, yes, no, if not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Something was there, but cancer broke it and several other things. Kenyon doesn't change the cat's litter. I mean, it's not everything, not a perfect person, I mean...
Yes, it's there. I mean, can I share this image? Maybe, I don't know, right?
Grace says that I paid for a friend's consultation in medicine, and since when? For them? When I tried collecting from them, they just threw the money at me through the window after I insisted many times. Grace says, ugh.
Intense.
I mean...
He arrived for the date and acted aggressively.
She says, I never lent him money, says Tepanterita. That's just what I've read, she says. I was grateful, though some people asked, were you dating drivers? I mean, that, you know, what they call tact?
That's what the system is.
She says she doesn't know what it is. Mercedes. We just arrived in Xochimilco. Mercedes, who's in Mexico City? Cheers, Mercedes, says Hermoso. They tried to overcharge on the trajineras, but we checked around and found one for 750 pesos for 2 hours. Super comfortable. It's definitely cold, says Mercedes.
Okay, hey, I've never been to Xochimilco, but someday I'll get to go. I mean, yeah, actually, no, I don't know that place. This one says, cheers, Mercedes, and keep enjoying your trip, says Alpha. It's good you check, because if you don't, they'll take advantage and raise the price if they see you don't know it. Yeah, says Alpha. About an hour, but it depends on the exercise. I train 2 hours daily with strength exercises and structured routines, he says. A good caloric surplus to be able to gain. Exactly, that's what they struggle with. People who are very thin, who want to lose weight.
Metabolism is also very fast, and for very tall people, stretched muscles make the volume less visible. It takes longer to see the results.
Well, look, do you remember the mountain? Well, I mean, he was very skinny, yes.
He was a basketball player.
He played basketball. Now let me show you the mountains before and after photo. He went from being one of the, let's say, most recognized strongmen in the world to being this skinny guy to being, well, not anymore. I mean, he spent years? Yeah, he spent years. Yeah.
But I'm saying it's something you do at night.
In the morning, and if at that time when he's really strong, he's still really young, but he doesn't look it. He looks much older. And for the same reason.
It says here this. When he was 18 years old, Alex says he was finishing high school. My dad got mad at me. And I left the house, I went to my mom's. She also got mad and kicked me out. And I spent a week on the street doing homework. I did finish high school. Hey, he's skinny?
Even if he loses today, he is. But the thing is, I was on the street, literally, really, in the city, Mexico. I mean, how crazy. I mean, it was him. The fight was tough. Look, check this out. These are the nests. Before and after, it was, well, Atletico. I mean,
You can see it's marked.
weren't you a basketball player? It looked so long, and then after years of training, well, it ended up here. Super giant, because he's obviously tall, but not a giant, just tall.
But he's the short one. His brothers are huge.
His brothers are huge, but he's tall too. He plays basketball, right? Is he from Austria?
Where is Iceland?
Iceland?
I think so. Iceland or Norway, I don't remember.
But he's the good one. Those who've seen Game of Thrones, he's the actor who played the Mountain. He's not a great actor, but he fit the role. But he has lines. No, that's not really his strength. His strength is being huge, yes.
Impressive.
Being impressive, yes, and luck. It's like Aaron Chesnaya. Also, they're actors. I don't mean they're not very good actors. No, they're not. But what I mean is, yes.
That they're not good?
Yes, their strength, which, by the way, I was saying in an interview, this one too. Well, Chesnaya was saying that when he talked to Cameron, for Terminator, he was supposed to be the protagonist because he had done the one from...
He was supposed to be the good guy with the sword.
Because the protagonist, what's the name of the one with the sword?
Conan?
He had done Conan, so he was already very famous, and he wanted a character in Terminator. Cameron was just starting out, so he said, yes, I'll join the project, but he wanted to be the lead, he said. Hey, it wasn't planned because he says he was constantly sending ideas for the Terminator like, hey, what about this and that, but he wasn't interested in the character, he was interested in being the lead. Someone suggested he play the Terminator, but he refused because the role only had about 5 lines. That's why what I want is for people to see me act. And the other guy, I imagine Cameron was thinking to himself, yeah, sure. And then they convinced him to be the Terminator, he said. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna be the bad guy and you do hurt other people, but in a cool way. He said, I mean, you're going to be a cool character. Honestly, do you see vision in James Cameron? Because honestly, in Terminator, it's like, I mean, it's an awesome character in terms of how cool he is, right? It's a character already in pop culture, not just in the United States, but recognized worldwide, right? So, well, and there, I don't know, that's where things take off. He was famous, but now he really is.
He wasn't an icon.
Totally.
But in the second one, as I know, like Bush too, he was very good friends with him, not with this Schwarzenegger. They changed the character to a good guy.
Ah, that's right. And in the second one, they make him a good guy. Ah, exactly. Plus, it was done like that. They change him exactly.
Yes, Roberto stays there. He feels really flushed. It's really hot. Exactly.
And you know what? There is actually a snow alert over there, but not for Colorado, not here. Hopefully, well, I say hopefully because that would be normal, right? For you all, for the snow to come. No, yeah, it's Denver, right? Guys.
Yes. Greetings to, it says just finished a certain game. We repaired a water leak from the upstairs apartment, and I used the chance to enter my apartment. That's why I have the photos. Plus, you're fixing things since he doesn't, he says. Here, Tapatia is not for us. He says he's in this area because friends' relatives live here. Greetings to Bueno. Screen here, but the house is in the city. Well, they're on the side of the house here. Greetings to Lucifer. Line on the screen and...
When there's a line, it's the chat. Sorry, yes.
Okay, it's the chat.
Yes, that's how it is. It's the chat, really. If you notice, it's the chat. And then I have to cut here. There it is. Let's see. Alex says he got locked out of his house. After a week, my dad calmed down. I returned for my things, and then my mom let me stay, he says. Look.
You're impressive, Alex. Thoughts?
You're impressive. Or am I just too strict?
It was really tough, wasn't it?
Am I just too strict or something? I don't know really, but they say this. Parents with a soft heart. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, yeah, it's great. I mean, there's a line in peace. I mean, thanks to the last 4 or 7. I couldn't see it from here, but since it's gray and you're wearing gray and I'm wearing black, I couldn't see it.
Greetings to Alpha and also to Walter, like this is Walter, and also to the dad, right, who went back at the beginning. Carabelle didn't come today, but it likely would have been postponed anyway.
Greetings.
Greetings. Who else is here? Greetings to Ramon. We're leaving now. Have a great time. It's Friday, so enjoy.
He knows it.
The body knows it. Anyway, it's kind of weird because it's like a weekend.
Yeah, it feels like a Monday. Everything's on hold.
Honestly, we're all on hold. Yesterday felt like Sunday. See you tomorrow. Remember that we send you the notification through Telegram and WhatsApp?
And tomorrow's Saturday, tomorrow night. Above all, we can talk more comfortably about movies and other things too, because that's still pending. Let's see what you recommend to us. We're also catching up on Stranger Things because the last part is already out. It's public now. So today we started watching a bit of it. Half an episode, the same one, but we'll finish it. I hope for 1.5 more to complete the 2 extra episodes. Greetings to Sonora, Ramon. Very good salts, Marvin. I hope you have a lot of luck with that. Yes, patience. No. How do they say it?
Impulsive moves?
Yes, no, and no. I'm telling you, that's the problem. Don't stress out. No, don't put your health into the problem. No, I know it sounds easy, but those problems actually cost more because they cause stress and anger. I mean, don't let the issue win. Don't let the situation get the best of you. Sending greetings and hoping for a quick resolution. Thanks for being here. Greetings to everyone. Big hug. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for watching the PP News Live, where the events of planet Earth and the secrets of outer space are analyzed like nowhere else. Thank you for subscribing.